Hello children, welcome to the video lectures of social science. Today we are going to study about the third video lecture of chapter number 4, standard 10th. In the previous video lectures we saw about the Brahmical literature. We also saw about the Vedas, Rig Vedas, Sam Vedas, Yajurveda and Atharva Veda. In this particular part of the video lecture, we are going to see about the Buddhist literature into this particular chapter. So, without wasting time, let us start. The earliest Buddhist literature was written into Pali language. Remember this. It was written into Pali language. It is divided into three sections. Right? The Buddhist literature is divided in three sections. That's why it is known as Tripatikas. It is known as Tripatikas. Remember this. Okay, Tripatikas. It consists of Sukta Patika, Vinayak Patika, and Abhadavana Patika. These are the three names of it. Beside many other works were also composed in Buddhist literature. Gupta period is also known as the golden period for the growth and development of Sanskrit poems and dramas. The Gupta period basically is, you can say it was around 3rd century to 5th century. So around about 200 years. It's considered very important for the Buddhist literature. The great writers like Kalidas, Bhavabhuti, Bhairavi, Bhartuhari, Banbhatta, Magh, and many other belong to this period. So you can see that this particular period is a very important period and it has given great writers to us. And many belong to this period. Of this, Kalidas is known all over the world. Okay? Most of this also writers are known all over the world and they are very famous. But Kalidas is more famous than any other, and that's why Kalidas is known as, you can say, rather the dramatist of the dramat, the king of the dramatists. Right? His work. Now, what are his major works? His major works are Kumar Sambhav, Raghuvansham, Meghdut, Abhignan Shakuntalam, and Ritu Saha. These are dramas are considered some of the main dramas of Kalidas. Are renowned for the best poetic and dramatic styles. His style was very, very good, and it was best among the other dramatists. Banta wrote the Kadambari. Remember it? Let me write it. Banbhatta wrote Kadambari, okay, and Harsha Charit. Okay, now Harsha Charit is a biography of King Harsha. Now you will be familiar with this particular word called biography. Now what is biography? Biography is basically the life of someone, okay, written by a poet or a writer, right? It is called biography. When a person writes on his own, that is known as autobiography. That is known as autobiography. Here auto word it means self. Okay, you might have seen the movie called Sanju. In that the lady writes the biography of Sanju, and that's why it is known as biography. So here Bana wrote the biography of King Harsha. Other works of this period are Bhavabhuti's Uttar Ramcharit. Bhavabhuti's Uttar Ramcharit is also one of the main important work of this time. Bhairavi's Kirti Arjuniam, Bhairavi's Kirti Arjuniam, okay, Vishakadattam, Mudraraksha, Shudrakas, Mirchika Katikam, and Dandi's Dash Kumar Charit. So these are some of the important works during that time. Okay, during that time. The subject of this work were political. Now, what were the main subject at that time? Then they were political events, romances. Now, romances means stories between a king and a queen or any other lady, allegories, comedies, and philosophy. These were some of the subjects that were used at that time for writing the literature. So you can see here there were a lot of writing into the subjects also during those times. Verses were composed in earlier form of Gujarati language. See, now we are going to study about Gujarati language from here. We are going to study about Gujarati language. This part will be denoted to the Gujarati language. Okay. So verses were composed in earlier form of Gujarati language also. In course of time, Gujarati language developed and many literature work composed. So many other literature work started getting composed into this particular language, which was a new language at that time. The heritage of Gujarati language was made prosperous by literary contribution from Narsi Mehta. Now you study Narsi Mehta into your Gujarati language. Narsi Mehta, Mirabai, Dayaram, Akho, Premanand, Pritam, and others. So they were great writers of Gujarati language and promoters of Gujarati language at that time. Others who composed beautiful verses, songs, garbas, narrative poems, and chappas, etc. There were other people who composed these beautiful verses. Okay, these are some of beautiful verses like song garbas. Garbas are the main thing of Gujarati, narrative poems and chappas. Okay. After that, scholars like Narmad, Naval Ram, Kishorlal Mashruwala, Pannalal Patel, Uma Shankar Joshi, Mahipatram Ruparam, Nilkant, Govardhan Ram Tripathi, and others enriched. So these were some of the other writers of that time who also contributed a lot. In the development of Gujarati language. They all wrote beautiful literature, and due to which the Gujarati language has become one of the best languages of the world. Now we are going to study about the Dravidian language. Now Dravidian basically, when we talk Dravid, it means south. Or the southern language. Okay. Now remember this name of this four Tamilian language: Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and Malayalam. The short form of it is TTMK. That is Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and Malayalam. These are known as the Dravidian languages. They develop their own scripts. They have their own script. Script is writing. Okay. And literature. Tamil is oldest of this. See, out of this Dravidian languages, Tamil is considered the oldest of it. Okay, and belongs to the early Christian era. So that is a very great thing. According to traditions, this literary gatherings and sangams. See, now there were literary gatherings. Literary gatherings means the writers, the poets used to gather, and they used to, at that time there was no WhatsApp or Facebook or Instagram. So how they used to channelize themselves, how they used to spread their knowledge, how they used to communicate with each other. Then this Kavi Sammelans or Sangams were a part of it. Okay, and at that time different sages, poets used to come here, recite their compositions, and used to get knowledge of the other parts also. So 3 literary gatherings and sangams were held at which sages and poets recited their composition. They contained many themes like political and war and law. So at that time, these were the main things: politics, war, and law. The famous works of this body of literature includes Itutukoi, okay, that is composition of 8 poems. Remember it, composition of 8 poems. Then next is Tolkappiyam, okay, that is belonging to grammar. Tolkappiyam is belonging to grammar, and Patupappu, that is relating to 10 songs. So Itutukoi is 8 songs, Tolkappiyam is related to grammar, and Patupappu is related to 10 songs. Now Thiruvallur wrote famous Kurai. Thiruvallur is one of the greatest writers of the Dravidian language of the southern side. He is also considered as the Kalidas of the southern side. Right? Wrote the famous Kurai, which is in verse deals with many aspects of life and religion. Say, wrote these books, and that deals with aspects of life and religion. The Shilpapadikaram, okay, and Manika Melekai are some of the most famous works of early Tamil literature. So in Tamil language also, in the Dravidian languages also, a lot of literature, a lot of composition was done at that time into this particular part of it. Next we are going to study about is the medieval literature. We are going to study about the medieval literature, but that we'll keep into the next video lecture. Next video lecture we are going to study about it. So into this particular video lecture we saw about mainly about the Buddhist literature. Okay, Buddhist literature is divided into 3 parts, that is the Tripatikas. Okay, then we also saw about the dramas that were written during this particular time, and Buddhist literature was mainly written in Pali language. We know about that. We remember this, it was written into Pali language. Okay, then we also saw about the Gujarati literature, how Gujarati literature was flourishing at that time, who were the main writers of Gujarati literature at that time, and how they used to enrich the language in the most prominent way. Okay. Then we also saw about the Dravidian languages. The Dravidian languages are the 4 languages, okay, and the short form to remember is TTMK. In the Dravidian languages we saw the development of it and the different parts of it. So we are keeping till here into this particular video lecture. Hope you have understood it. We'll continue into the next video lecture